Today we're talking about algebraic expressions. Remember that an algebraic expression is something you learned about in algebra. It's going to involve letters, which we call variables, and numbers. And it's not going to be set equal to 0 because that's going to be something we're going to talk about tomorrow, which is an equation. But it would look something like 3x plus y minus 5. That would be an algebraic expression. We are able, if they give us enough information, to plug in numbers in place of these variables, and so we can solve or evaluate, is the word that we usually use. We can evaluate this expression, so we could see what would this portion be equal to or be the same as, right? So let's take a look at a couple of really important factors first. The first thing is going to be order of operations. You probably learned your order of operations with some acronym. The most common one for our school is PEMDAS. Remember that P stands for parentheses. Okay. E is for exponents. M is for multiply. D is for divide. A is for add, and S is for subtract. Okay, remember you have to do these in order. You have to start at the top and work your way down. And the two kind of caveats to that are going to be that multiplying and dividing are really going to be the same level. So you could either multiply or divide first. It doesn't matter. And then when you get to the add and subtract level, adding and subtracting are really at the same level. So it doesn't matter whether you add first or whether you subtract first, okay? But you have to start with parentheses, then exponents. Then you can either multiply or divide and take care of those. And then the last step is going to be the adding or subtracting. Okay, so let's look at some examples, and I think this will come back to you really quickly. Our first example is they give us this expression, x minus 5 plus y. They also tell us that x is equal to 15 and y is equal to negative 7. Okay? The key here is going to be to take this x equals 15 and plug it in place of x, and to take the y is equal to negative 7 and to plug it in place of y. Okay? So when we rewrite that, we get 15 minus 5. So that's from our original equation here, or expression, excuse me, plus, then we have negative 7, because that's what y is. Okay, and we have to evaluate this then. So the first step is to plug in your information, the numbers that they give you. The second step is then to follow that order of operations we just talked about. So we don't have any parentheses where there's something we could solve, something on the inside of the parentheses. So we're okay there. Next, we have to look at exponents. We don't have any exponents. Next is going to be multiply or divide. We don't actually have any multiplying or dividing. Remember that these parentheses here around the negative 7 are just to say we have a plus a negative 7. So they are purely to keep the like the plus sign and the negative sign separated. Okay. So we only really have to do adding and subtracting. So you can break it down into two parts. It doesn't really matter which one you do first, but we usually start left to right because that's the way that we read. So 15 minus 5 gives us 10. Okay. So that would be 10 plus a negative 7. And then when we combine these two, 10 plus negative 7 is going to give us 3. If you're not sure about the adding and subtracting with negative numbers, go look at my YouTube webpage, and I have a whole little video that has a song to the tune of Row, Row, Row Your Boat, and it'll be really helpful for problems like this. So when you evaluate this expression, your answer is 3. Let's look at another example. Okay, for this example, we have negative 3 times k squared plus 2n. Okay. They also tell us, as part of the instructions, that k is equal to negative 2, n is equal to negative 4, and p is equal to 5. Okay, So again, we're plugging information in. So in place of k, we're going to be plugging in -2. In place of n, we're going to be plugging in -4. Okay. And then we have this p down here, and everybody wants to know, what in the world is that doing there? Keep in mind, in your homework or in your book or on a test or a quiz, they may give you either A, extra information, or B, information that's useful in some problems but then not in others, so that they can give you this same list here that I've given you on the right and use those numbers for multiple expressions. And that's actually what's happening in your book's example. So you don't actually need the P example at all. It is purely extra information, so you don't need that information right now. Okay, so let's go fill in what we know. So we have -3, okay, times -2 squared. Oops, I tried to switch colors there. -2 squared plus 2 times, and n is -4. Okay. So again, we have to start with our parentheses. We have to see, is there anything we can work out inside the parentheses first? And so we're really focused right in here. And the answer is yes, but before we can actually solve that, we have to do our exponent. So within the parentheses, we start back at the top. Is there anything else inside parentheses we can do? No. Is there anything we can do that's exponents? Oh, yes, we have this -2 squared. Remember, when you're typing the -2 squared in your calculator, because I know some of you are going to do that, you have to use the parentheses. You have to type it in as -2 squared into your calculator in order to get the right answer. If you don't, you will not get the right answer. Okay, on this one, it ends up just being a sign problem, but that's not always the case. Okay, so when we go to solve through here, we have -2 squared is going to be +4. Okay. And then next, because we're still following our little PEMDAS thing, next we have to solve inside these parentheses still. So we've taken care of the exponents within the parentheses. Now we have to finish solving the parentheses themselves. So we're really working on this second half here, this 2 times -4. Let me copy the rest of this. So 2 times -4 is going to be -8. Okay. And then now we're finally actually ready to solve these parentheses. We're doing 4 plus -8 is going to give us -4. And we have to multiply that times -3. So -3 times -4 is going to be a +12. And this is our final answer. Okay. I really hope that this was helpful. And thank you so much for listening. If you have questions, don't forget that you can come and see me during 0 hour from 7:30 to 8:10 every morning. Thank you. Have a great day.